Hello, we're Karine and Karine from CK Performance Clinics and welcome back to our Wingfall series.
Thanks for your feedback so far. This episode is the first in a series where we look into the world of gybing.
Gybing is an essential part of all things wing. It allows you to turn around without submerging yourself. We'll start at the very beginning, learning to gybe off the foil, and today we'll focus on the heel to switch gybe.
There are so many reasons to learn gybing off the foil first. The undisputable main one is for you to become familiar with and understand all the elements at play.
From steering the board all the way to downwind, flipping your wing, getting used to no support, ending up in the most unnatural position.
And we'll even have a look at a cheeky foot change. There's a lot going on, and learning it off the foil gives you much more time to process and get comfortable with all the different stages.
Ultimately, the aim of this video is to lay the foundations to gybe on the foil. You'll have plenty of opportunity to practice in light wind, in a lull, making the most of a sunny day.
And as with all things waffing, the bigger the board, the easier this will be. Let's ponder the gybe and all that it entails. In case you're not familiar with nautical terms, we should agree on what a gybe is. A gybe is a method of turning around.
What makes it a gybe is the direction of travel. You turn with the wind by heading downwind. A word of warning. This means that every time you gybe, you will lose ground, so make sure you come back upwind in between jibes.
The gybe requires a wing flip because you completely change direction. Remember, your wing needs to point in the direction you're going. Karine is riding out, wing pointing to her left. She turns the board downwind, flips her wing. Now with the wing pointing to her right, she can turn the board further and come back in the opposite direction. And as if by magic, she ends up in a switch position because she hasn't changed her feet during the gybe.
So you'll have to get comfortable with this new stance. Think of a gybe as a U-turn with a wing flip in the middle. Here you go, plenty to keep you entertained. You're probably thinking this is familiar ground as you hopefully practiced bearing away many times from our previous videos. But here you're going the full Monty. You need to turn the board all the way until it points downwind. Balance first. The aim is to keep some form of balance all throughout the turn. Position your feet so you can trim the board nose to tail and rail to rail.
You'll need to anticipate your new stance coming out of the gybe. As such, both feet need to be slightly further across from their usual positions whilst keeping them offset. This allows you to maintain trim from rail to rail. In stronger wind, you'll need to widen your stance by stepping the rear foot back a touch.
In the non-falling gybe, where in relation to the wind you start your descent downwind is not important. Just bear in mind that if you are tootling about riding upwind, you will have further to turn.
You initiate the gybe by bearing away. Sheet in, push the wing towards the nose of your board and direct the pull through your front leg. The bigger the movement, the quicker the board will turn. If the wind is very light, you'll need patience.
The full Monty. You're now in uncharted waters. You want to turn your board as far as you can until you're running with the wind. To keep the board turning, you need to hold your wing where it is. Push to the outside of the turn with power on. Lead with the head. Stay balanced over the board with your ankles flexed and your knees soft.
Where and what is downwind? From the shore it may seem obvious, but once you're underwater it's a different story. It doesn't have to be precise, it's a zone. That's why practice and discovery time are essential.
Ready for some wing flip action? As exciting as it sounds, this next part takes you deep into the realms of wobbly. Up until now, you've had the wing pulling, even if just a touch, giving you something to balance against. Now you're releasing what's been your lifeline.
Rest assured, there's no need for a gymnast's balance, but having your weight centred over the board is a must. Getting used to no support is such an important part of winging. The great thing is, doing this on moving water prepares you. This is a giant step for what's to come.
You'll know that you've reached the halfway mark when the board stops turning. To prepare for the flip, lift your front hand higher and push down on your back hand. This will prevent any involuntary wing dipping.
Release your back hand and with your wing flying above your head, reach up to your front hand and grab the handle. Release your front hand and grab a rear handle. If you start with an overhand front grip, chances are you'll end up with an underhand grip and vice versa. This may feel odd, but it's legit. Whenever you're ready, you can twist back to overhand. To twist back, sheet out so that your wing isn't pulling. Hold the handle firmly with your thumb and twist your fingers around until you can grab from above.
We should point out that there is no right or wrong way to hold your wing. Personal preference and the situation dictate. You can practice this on terra firma, and with time you will become accustomed to both possibilities. Here you go, you flipped the wing. But remember, it's only halfway. In a gybe, downwind is no man's land. You don't want to hang around here. Your motto, keep turning. At this stage of the gybe, it can feel like everything is against you. The wing has no power and your new switch stance feels rather unbalanced. Nothing like a challenge. Getting your wing and stance to work for you will be just a ticket you need to finish your gybe. To keep the board turning, you need to kick your dynamic stance into action.
Point the wing forward to pull you in the direction you want to go. Extend your front arm and sheet in gently to power the wing. Shift more weight onto your back foot and the nose of the board will start turning.
As the board turns further, center your weight to trim the board from nose to tail. Reach forward with your wing and bring your front arm down.
Drive through your back foot, forcing the board around. It should feel like you're pulling the board underneath you.
Once you've turned and are moving in a new direction, you can use the wing to steer as you normally would. Bear in mind that in switch you have less forward reach with your arms, so to compensate you always need to exaggerate the forward movement. It takes some effort.
The more the board turns, the more you'll have to open your shoulders and hips so that your chest faces forward. This allows you to keep the wing forward and the power on. Flex your ankles and push your knees across the centre line and feel free to wiggle your feet to a more suitable position for both balance and board trim.
Switch will feel very unnatural at first, but you so need it. Having lost some ground gybing, you will be eager to get back upwind for another go. Although very possible, riding upwind switch, especially in light wind, is a challenge. The solution, a cheeky foot change. This won't be the same as on the foil, but it will be a formidable start to ungluing your feet.
The simplest method is to step your front foot back into a duck foot position, straddling the centre line, and then step your rear foot forward, a quick two-step. Keep your chest and hips open. If your feet are spread wide during the gybe, you may need to shimmy the back foot forward before pulling on your dancing shoes.
There you go, you've just gybe, read and switch and change your feet. Time to celebrate.
And what's more, you've just laid some solid foundations for what's to come.
See you next time.
Cheerio.